Hi, my name is William Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, channel, and an intuitive life coach, and I want to welcome you to a morning message. And I have the honor and privilege of having with me Madame Blavatsky. She's come to me in spirit, and she's founded an organization called the Theosophical Society about 100 years ago with Dwal Kul and Saint Germain and I believe Sanat Kumara. And what she came to talk to me about was does it mean to be a medium? And she came forth and said it's important that people understand the ambiance, the air, the idea, the fear that's been associated with being psychic or being a medium has to be dispersed in order that humanity as a whole can begin to open up and accept the non-physical capabilities and talents that we all possess. It is fully natural for every human being to be able to use ultra senses, the senses beyond the five physical senses. What I like to call the senses of the soul senses, which is clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, and clairgustance. Those are the five non-physical senses that we have. But she came through and she said, it's important you understand that every single human being has these abilities innately. We are all born with them. A medium, she says, a medium is one that has developed their ability to hear and see things beyond the normal range of physical perception and are able to then take that information and bring it down and communicate it to others on a physical dimension. She says it's not a special skill, although it takes due diligence to stay focused and to cultivate it. It takes time and patience and perseverance to cultivate that skill deliberately and intentionally. It is not something that is just going to happen of its own accord unless you are born with that sense fully developed already from previous lifetimes of experience and expression, in which case you can grow up knowing and hearing and seeing things that the average person does not. But if you notice, children often have play friends and connect to these non-physical things they see around them because those senses are innately there always for every single human being. And there are certain things that you need to do to develop them. And I can agree with that concept that for me, in terms of being a medium, I can feel and sense and know information coming from another source other than what I can hear with my ears or see with my eyes. And I can tap into it. Sometimes I have to close my eyes and go inside and begin to sense or feel something other than what I'm used to knowing of in this world. And so for me, being a medium is the ability to be able to do that deliberately and intentionally, to move beyond the confines of your physical means of perception into the non-physical realms of perception. And they're just different degrees in one of the same thing called consciousness. She says this has been well known for many, many centuries, but there are those that would seek to restrict that development, for none could take advantage of any if all knew of these abilities. If you knew the difference between what is true and what is false, if you could feel the truth of a thing, you could never be deceived. And in reality, you've been trained to not trust yourself, to not believe in something beyond what you know, what you've acquired, and what you've learned. But this is a time that many of us have worked towards, this period that you are labeling as ascension. This is the time for all of humanity to begin to awaken to these things. Each and every single person has these capabilities and has these skills naturally ingrained within their system. And when you begin to deliberately and intentionally seek to know that which is beyond what you know, you will begin to discover a new you, another I, an I that sees in an undivided way, unlike the eye that you've been given upon this world that sees things fragmented and separated. A medium is one that is able to bring information beyond the physical realms down into the physical realms and communicate it in such a fashion that others can comprehend and understand that. There are books that I wrote on the subject that you could easily go and find that would explain to you the process. But there are very few of you that have the patience to persevere to really demonstrate for yourself that these things are actually true. She's saying that there's a difference between a psychic and a medium. And she says the difference is more of one of degree than it is of name. The degree, she says, the degree is in the one is more mental and one is more non-physical. One is your soul more awakened. Which one is it? Which one is which? In the process of mediumship, you will find yourself being able to remove consciously from your perception those encumbrances that would prevent you from being clear in what you hear and see. Whereas in the framework of what you call a psychic, there is an element of guesswork where the mind is enmeshed with the process of interpreting non-physical information, getting filtered through the mental mechanism, and then often represented in an irregular fashion that does not accurately reflect the information being provided from the source from which it is being provided. So if you understand these differences, one is a choice. In mediumship, you cultivate deliberately and intentionally the awareness to be present in your physical realm, but you open yourself up to the non-physical realm simultaneously without analysis or judgment of information. There's no filter, whereas in the psychic realm, you are dealing with the mental or astral elements of consciousness that will filter and alter information being provided to you. So it's important you understand these distinctions. For one is a scientific process, the other one has more guesswork involved. And there are actual processes you can cultivate and develop. There's a meticulous step-by-step process you can learn to cultivate, to awaken your non-physical senses. Remember, that body that you're sitting in, listening to us in, with those physical ears, is not who you are. Who you are is the one hearing the message, but the body is only the vehicle that communicates the message to you and through which you communicate messages to this world. As you get more familiar with this, the aspect of yourself that is non-physical, you move into a deliberate position of intentionally opening non-physical realms of perception to this physical dimension. It's one of the reasons why so many of us can communicate with different beings on different levels. Archangel Michael, for example, is one that an angel that comes to many, many people, or Master Jesus. It's a matter of being able to get the filters out of the way so that you begin to perceive without analysis. Analysis can come after the fact. I cannot tell you how many times I've, like after this video is done, I'm going to actually watch it because I often hear things afterwards that I didn't even realize were being said, and my mind is often blown. So there's a process of allowing that you have to learn to cultivate. When we teach people in our courses and classes how to actually go step by step from being just attached to interpreting the world from the five physical senses to getting your awareness into a place where you start to sense things that are not well known to your ears or eyes, but they're available, like energy. People talk about energy, but what is that? How do you experience it? How do you feel it? She's saying to you now there's obvious forms of energy like hot and cold, but she says the energies that I'm speaking of right now are those energies that are not perceptible to your senses, but through which you can become aware of them through your senses. She says it sounds like a contradiction in terms, but it is not, if you understand that the corresponding senses of your soul are equal in capability as the senses of your body, but differ on terms of what they will hear and see. Much the same way as a dog will hear sounds very differently than a human, because the range of its perceptual mechanism is different than a human's. And yet, humans are the only organism we know on the planet that can deliberately and intentionally alter their perceptual senses to perceive things that aren't in immediate time or space, to move awareness from one point to another without leaving a physical place. We humans can do that. We have that capability. She says, we demonstrated this many, many times in front of great crowds, and there are many in your society today that are doing this under the guise of magic, that are actually able to alter time, space, and matter. But if everybody believed and knew that, these individuals would be thought of as charlatans or not viewed in the true light in which they are presenting themselves. But the truth is, there are other realms of consciousness that are available to you and everyone else. Are you willing to explore that, or are you willing to continue accepting the reality that you have created in this physical world as it is right now? Or are you willing to change it and evolve it? You must stand up inside yourself. You must stand up inside yourself. I'm not sure why she's saying that. You must stand up inside yourself. I'm interpreting that to mean when you can move your awareness, to places beyond what you're familiar with, like can you move your awareness into a space in another room and feel that space? Can you begin to move outside the known realms of personal experience into the realms of the unknown? Because that's where you'll understand and learn new things. So that, that's the simplest way she says we can articulate the difference between what a psychic and a medium is, and really, what does it mean to be a medium? It means that you are one that can bring forth information that is not readily available to those on the physical dimension. And there are many of your great inventors and creators that use that process to create new things, new technology, new opportunities. You see them all around you. And you accept that that's normal and natural, but you do not realize that which you see now came from somewhere that it wasn't. It was not here before, and it came from somewhere else and was brought into this realm. If you understand that, then you'll understand the power in learning to awaken your abilities to work with non-physical awareness and consciousness in time and space. She's saying that's all I need to say, all that has to be said on this subject. And I again, this is it is from my perspective, it's really obvious that, think about it. How many times have you been thinking about somebody and they call you? What was that caused that? How many times have you been wondering where you're going to be, wondering what's going to happen, and something happens that surprises you that you were expecting but didn't know it was going to happen? Or how often have you been wanting to meet somebody on the street and suddenly you walk into them and they're right there? We live in many realms, and real freedom comes when we begin to expand our consciousness beyond what we know into what we don't know, because that is where we will grow. You cannot become something more than you are if all you're working with is what you already know. You can only become more of what you are by learning what you don't know. Anyway, I want to say thank you for coming by. Please like and subscribe to my channel, like the video if you enjoyed it. And go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com, and if you're interested in learning how to become a medium, to become a channel, we offer courses that will show you exactly how to do that in a step-by-step process. And we have many students and teachers that we work with now that are part of our program that have learned to do this. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. This form is something you direct. It's not who you are. Learn to know the truth of who you are. And like all those Greek temples say, know thyself. And the thyself that is you is not just this physical body. You are the director of it, but you are not it. And I want to say much love to all of you, and thank you for stopping by and listening. Have yourself a wonderful and a joyful day.